Toastmasters Club in IFI. That's a business school we have here. And when I went there, that's where I saw there was a person from Siemens Bangalore Toastmasters Club who delivered a speech. And then 6 different evaluators delivered their evaluation. And everyone found such an awesome set of points, and the way they presented it, I was really impressed that feedback can be given this way. And from that point onwards, whenever there was an opportunity to be a part of a meeting and take up the evaluation role, I have always liked to do that, because number one, it helps you to improve your focus. You see, how many of you have struggled to maintain focus? Give me a me in the chat. Okay, I can see people raising hands. That's also fine. So you see, thank you. Yeah, I can see now the chat is bubbling with me's. So you see, when you plan or when you're doing the evaluation, at that time, the speaker has your undivided attention. You start making notes. It also helps you to sharpen your analytical skills. It helps you to learn prioritization. There are so many things that you learn as an evaluator. But then, no matter how good of an evaluation you do, the best measure of your evaluation is after the meeting, you go and speak to the speaker. Hey, are you okay with my evaluation? At that point, the speaker can tell you that, okay, yeah, I agree with most of your points. This is one point where I felt that, this was my point of view, and probably in your evaluation, that did not reflect. I've also seen some evaluators who ask the speaker, what kind of evaluation do you want? Do you want an evaluation which is wrapped in chocolate, or do you want an evaluation which is raw? There are some speakers who said, you know what, please focus on the points of improvements only for my speech. Now, for anyone who is participating in the international speech contest as well, you have got your speech with you, and you might share that speech with your club members. But then, how can you get more number of people to look at that speech and give you their point of view as well? That is also where an evaluation contest can be a really good source of creative inputs for writing a good speech. So now let's get started with what is evaluations, and we'll go from there. But as the name of the session indicates, evaluate to motivate. So please write this down and underline it whichever notebook you have. Whenever you're doing an evaluation, number one, it's a speech in itself. Evaluation is also a speech. It's also a performance in public speaking. Number two, you are evaluating so that you are encouraging the speaker that they can get better. You are evaluating so that you can let the speaker know that these are the 2 to 3 ways in which you can do well, where you can improve. I have prepared a few slides for this. So let's go through some of the slides, and I will come back with a few more anecdotes to share with all of you. In the meantime, if there is one request that I have for everyone is, during the entire session, if you have any questions, please make a note of them, keep them ready, because we will be having the Q&A session towards the end of the meeting, or maybe in the second section where we will be having the session today. Now, before I go to the slides, let me also share with you, there are 3 sections in the meeting today. First section is this one, that I'm going to discuss with you about how to do evaluation, the different sections, and certain qualities about that. Second section is where we will have a demo speaker who will come and deliver a speech, a 5 to 7 minute speech. Then I would like one of the members who is present here to nominate themselves, and they would deliver their evaluation. And for that evaluation, we will have our panelists, which is DTM Arun, Ramarathnam, and we also have Toastmaster Jyotiprakash, who is the division director for Division I, who will give their point of views on this. Once this is done, the panelists will also be sharing their views on the speech. What did they feel about the speech? So this is the entire second section. Once that is completed, then we move on to the third section, because we really want to have as many of us as possible to practice this skill, which is why we have a third section as well. And this is where we will have one more speech. And in that case, we need each and every one in the meeting to make notes, prepare an evaluation. We'll be splitting you into 2 different breakout rooms, and you will be delivering your evaluation in the breakout rooms. So who is excited to start the first segment for this meeting? Give me an excited in the chat, please. If you are excited to start this journey, write down excited and share that in the chat. You see, I really believe in energy. Toastmasters meeting can only become unforgettable when we have immense amount of energy. The light bulbs around us needs to explode. So yes, looks like my light bulb over here definitely is in dire danger because of the excitement that I can see in the chat. With that, let me start sharing my screen and we will get started with this session. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Evaluate to motivate. Yes, Uday, just if you can confirm, that'll be great.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So in this meeting, we are looking at evaluations and we are also looking at contests. That's why I have put the pictures of the trophies as well, so that we can start with the end in mind. I would like to quote Dr. Ralph C. Smedley here, where he said, "No Toastmasters club is fulfilling its obligation to its members unless it brings them the maximum training in the art of constructive criticism." Because this is something which you would not observe very often in corporate meetings, where imagine if your boss is using a lot of you-knows, and as an accountant, as a trained accountant, you have got that unmistakable urge to walk up to your boss and say, "Can you please reduce saying you know?" But can that be taken positively? Without a good context, maybe not. And this is also why the art of giving constructive criticism is what we practice in Toastmasters, and we learn in Toastmasters, and we will practice it in the outside world. The agenda today, we will be looking at different things, the basics of evaluation. We'll be looking at the ballot. We will have the demo speeches, and we will have the panel feedback as well. But first, when I started to do the evaluation, I had asked my mentor at the time, "How do I do the evaluation?" He said, "Very simple, use the sandwich method." And I was wondering, what is this sandwich method now? So just to share with you, the sandwich method is where you start with what are the things that the speaker has done well. Then you start off with how can they improve? And then at the end, you also give them a summary of overall what did you feel about their performance that day. What if you were to change the order in this sandwich? What if I were to start with the points of improvement? What would be a risk in that? Can anyone tell me? Just mention it in the chat, or maybe you can unmute and you can share. If you were to start with the points of improvement, is there a risk in that approach? What do you think? Okay, so Sachin says there is no risk. All right. Demotivation says Gavin. Yes, Gavin, I think you are very close. We should not end with negative comments. Okay, I wouldn't like someone directly to point out mistakes. Thank you, Jyotiprakash. Very good. Cool. See, when you are delivering feedback, we need them to be receptive. We need them to have an open mind. You would not won the confidence of the speaker. Yes, very true, Nilesh. If you start giving a lot of negative points, then you're not winning the confidence of the speaker. And see, our point is not even to win their confidence. Our point is to share with them how they can improve. If their mind gets shut down by if we start putting a lot of points of improvements first, then they might not hear what we have to say next. Which is why if you start with the good points, it's a better approach. So they know what they are doing good. Even in this scenario, there are not a lot of places where people walk up to you and say, Nilesh, you are doing these 3 things very well. So when you hear that after your speech, you feel good. In the end, it's all about feelings. It's about feelings that lead to a lot of thinking, and it leads to an improved performance next time. And that also builds your confidence. If you delivered 5 speeches, and in every speech that you delivered, multiple evaluators tell you, hey, Dhanush, you are a very good storyteller. Now that motivates Dhanush to tell more stories. And which is also why an evaluation helps you to reinforce some of the good points about your speech. So we start with the points or the things that went really well, and then we move on to the things that can be improved. Now, this is what a conference would look like. In a typical Toastmasters meeting, or let's say in a conference, if it is an area meet, a division meet, or even if it's a special meeting at your club, or if it's a special meeting at your office where you are the speaker and there are a lot of people in the audience. Especially if I talk about contests, what happens in a contest, or specifically in an evaluations contest, is that there would be a demo speaker who would come in, would deliver an amazing speech on the stage for 5 to 7 minutes. All the evaluators will make notes during the speech. All the contestants, that is the evaluators, will be given 5 minutes of time to prepare their notes. After the 5 minutes, all the notes are taken from them. Only the first contestant remains in the room. And that is the first contestant standing right there, delivering their evaluation. But then, who is responsible to ensure that this speaker wins the contest? Is it the demo speaker who delivered the speech, or someone else? It's actually the judges. So if I look at this entire crowd, what you might see is this one person number 2, and person number 3. They are the invisible judges who are having a judge's ballot with them. And once you are done delivering your evaluation, they will be giving you the marks. And it is based on these marks, it will be decided if you win the contest or not. So in this session, we are going to look at evaluations from the contest perspective as well as from a normal meeting perspective. So what are some of the best practices when you look at delivering an evaluation? Number 1, you need to reinforce the speaker's strong points. All right. So whenever somebody is giving a speech, I'm sure you as an evaluator will find a lot of good things. Things could be that their voice quality is really good. If you look at Sudhish, do we have Toastmaster Sudhish here? Just say hi if you're here. So Toastmaster Sudhish, whenever he speaks, he gets that comment that your voice is really good. Then it's possible that their body language was really good. It's possible their vocabulary was superb. It's also possible that the message in their speech was phenomenal, something that you have never heard of. So all of these could be strong points for the speaker. Then there is always ways in which the speakers can improve. This is also where I would like to mention a few words that whenever the speaker is not doing well in a certain areas, we should not call them mistakes. It's not a mistake, it's a point of improvement. We should not say that, these are all the points where you did not do well today. These are all the points where you just suck. Now, that kind of language is not going to be helpful in any scenario, which is why we want the speaker to improve, and that's the only objective. So what are the ways in which the speaker can improve? You need to suggest that. Now, when we suggest these improvements, it need not be in a very recommendation kind of a manner. For example, if you imagine somebody walking up to a doctor and the doctor says, okay, Sanjeet, you need to lose weight. That's it. But how does Sanjeet lose the weight? The doctor doesn't say that. In that case, you are not getting benefited by that suggestion. So if you are telling someone that you could have used your voice better, how could you have used your voice better? You should demonstrate that. So you can say, Toastmaster Sanjeet, in your speech today, you said that I was sad, but your voice was going up. Instead, if you had said, I was really sad that day. So in that case, you are demonstrating what the speaker can do. And it's not just a learning moment for the speaker. It's a learning moment for the entire audience. Each and every person sitting in the audience learns from this. And with that, they will learn to do better speaking next time, or even better evaluations next time. We also can assist the development of the evaluator. It can assist the development of the audience. As I was just saying, by doing a good evaluation, everybody is getting helped in the audience as well. Now, let's talk about some of the things which you should be doing before the speech. Now, if you look at a normal meeting, then I would like to add a point here. In a normal meeting, you should have the evaluation guideline with you. If you are an evaluator, if you're taking up that role, contact the speaker and say, hey, Udaya, I need the evaluation form, please. Can you please send that over to me? So that way you are prepared with the evaluation form. But if you are going for the speech contest, in that case, you need to know how you're going to make the notes. So keep your format ready. Now, you might be thinking, what is this format that I'm talking about? I will come to that. And we will be discussing that at great length. But for now, let's go to the next point. Ensure that you are ready to focus. You know what? So many times I have seen new contestants, somebody who's contesting for the first time, they are so nervous. Their hands are getting sweaty. They are not able to focus. As a result, when the speaker comes on the stage, the contest master announces the name and the speech title, and this person is still making plus and minus, and oh, what was the speaker name again? I missed it. Can you ask the other evaluators? Maybe they may not tell you, because people are in a very competitive mindset at the time. But as an evaluator, you need to be focused at the time. And what is the best way of getting your focus? I can give you 3 ways of doing that. Number 1, that has worked really well for me, is music. I'll have my top 5 favorite songs ready on my phone. And just before I'm going to walk on to the contest, I'm going to plug in my headphones, go in a corner, listen to my songs, and they're going to take me to that mental peak. So I am walking into the contest with the highest energy that's possible. And it's all about energy. Even if you have got the best notes in your hand, best evaluative points, but your energy on the stage, if it doesn't match the quality of your analytical skills, even then it's not going to work. So for you to be a rock star evaluator, you need to have that peak energy state. So songs can be one way of doing that. Number two is where you stay silent. Where I've seen speakers who will not, I've seen speakers who will go in a corner and just be by themselves. You remember the last time you did a good evaluation, and that also helps you. And that brings me to number 3, which is the complete opposite. There are some Toastmasters who are more comfortable if you're speaking with the fellow contestants. Last time, I remember in our club level contest, we had the breakout room and we had 8 different evaluators, and that poor breakout room master, the person, the volunteer in the breakout room, we were ragging him so much. It was taking the tension off from all the contestants, but the volunteer in the room, he had a lot of time, a lot of good time. So that can be another factor that you can do. You talk to more people and that relaxes you. But even then, the point being, before the contest begins, you need to ensure that you are at a peak state of mind. Now let's go to the next one. What will you do during the speech? During the speech is going on, it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. You need to do active listening. Focus on the speaker. Observe every minute thing as much as you can. Observe the way they are looking at the audience. Observe their eye contact if it's an in-person meeting. If it's a virtual meeting, am I looking straight into this camera or am I looking down at the keyboard? Observe the way their voice is coming out. Do they have good light? And all of these are just peripheral subjects. Then coming to the core speech itself, somebody might use the best of the words, but even then, one way you can have a barometer around this. What did the speech make you feel? Were you able to connect with the speaker when the speaker was delivering the speech? What were some of the points that you will always remember? I remember there was a division contest where there was an international speaker, international speech contestant, whose message was, if an egg breaks from the inside, a life is born, but if the egg breaks from the outside, a life is lost. That one message still stayed with me 4 years after the contest. Did the speaker give you this kind of a message anywhere, or any kind of a point which you felt that, oh, that was brilliant? So make a note of that. So you know that you felt strongly about it. Could be the content. You will always have the speech. You will always have the way delivered. So was it the speech, the script, the characters, the conflict, the examples, the words, or was it the delivery, the body language of the speaker, the eye contact, the voice modulation, the overall smoothness of the speaker? And then as you are looking at this, don't hold back. Now, let me take you to a specific page that is the format that I was talking about earlier. Can you guys see the notepad and the page? You can? All right. So what I have here is the name of the speaker at the top. I've got the title of the speech. Then on the left-hand side, I've got on the left-hand side, I have the plus points. On the right-hand side, I have got the minus points. At the bottom, I have written message. What was the message of the speech according to me? Because what can be a 6 for someone can be a 9 for someone else. So what is the message that you received from the speech? That's what matters, because you are doing an evaluation which is very, very personal from your perspective. So look at that message that you received. After the speech has ended, the contest master will ask the timer to mention the time that the speaker used. This is a crucial time. If the speaker has used 7 minutes and 29 seconds, that's very good. The speaker has used really good, they have used their time wisely. But imagine if the speaker has only used 6 minutes and 2 seconds. In that case, they still have 1.5 minutes left. And one can fit an entire new story in that, right? So look at the time And looking at the time, that can also give you a very good point of improvement for the speaker. Now, even here, your analytical skills come into picture. One can say that, okay, my dear target speaker, you have only used 6 minutes and 2 seconds. You can improve on that. But that's a very average recommendation. What will they do with that time? You tell them that as well. My dear speaker, you used 6 minutes and 2 seconds. With the remaining 1 minute and 30 seconds or 28 seconds, in those extra 98 seconds, you could have added a new story. And now the speaker is thinking, oh yeah, I can add a new story over there. So this is how you are adding value to the speaker. All right. So this is the format that I was talking about. The reason I'm showing you this is that the moment I get the blank paper in the contest time, I will start doing all of this. But beyond this, I would even say that on the left-hand side, even if I have 10 things, it's okay, keep going on. On the right-hand side, if I have 7 things, even that is okay, keep going on. Keep making notes until the speech is going on. Don't hold back saying that, oh, I already have 10 good points. I don't need any more good points. All right. So with this, what I would say is the moment you go inside the speaking mode or the evaluation mode, you get your format ready. Once that is done, now I need to show you a few more things. What are the things that the speaker has done really well? We looked at that. What are the things that will have the greatest impact in making the speaker even better? This is also where your creative thinking skills are going to be put to use. You need not stop at what the speaker has explored. You can think of what can be introduced to make this speech an even better thing. Did the speaker use any metaphors? If you find the winning speeches in all the contests, most of the contests, you will find that there is a pattern. The winning speeches will always have a metaphor around the core context or the core conflict that they have in that story. Has the speaker used metaphors in their speech? That can be a recommendation as well. Now, during the 5 minutes time, which is given to you once the speech is done, and in a normal meeting, you have much more than that, right? Once the speaker is done, you have all the time until the table topics is done, and then as an evaluator, you will be called upon the stage. At this point of time, there are many things that you can do. Now, what I always like to do is, I'm a big fan of quotes. So let's say if the speech was about leadership, then I would love to start with a quote which is about leadership. Maybe something like, an army of lions led by a sheep will always be defeated by an army of sheep led by a lion. And talking about leadership, my target speaker, what a speech you delivered today. And then I get into my evaluation, which means by having that quote with me, I know that I have a short way of starting my evaluation at a really good point. And from there, I transition into the things that worked very well. You see, in the sandwich method, there are 2 transitions that you need to use. First transition is when you are going from your opening to your body, which is the good points. When you're done doing all the good points, now you are transitioning to the points that can be improved. How will you do that? Very poor way of doing that is, okay, now let me tell you what are the things that you can do better. Another way of doing that is, Toastmaster Abdul, today's speech was really good, but to make it unforgettable, I have 2 suggestions for you. So in that case, you are transitioning, and at the same time, you are also commending the speaker. Now, I would also like to mention that you should use or think about using the 3-2 approach. What is the approach?
3-2 approach.
3-2.
3-2 approach. The 3-2 approach is, no matter how many good points you have, prioritize what are the top 3 points that the speaker should work upon. No matter how many points of improvements you have, prioritize top 2 points where the speaker can improve, so that the overall scale is balanced towards improvement, not about the points of improvement. It's scaled towards what the speaker did well. There are 3 points like that. So what you can do there is prioritize these 3 points. This is also where your way of thinking, what the other contestants are doing, might be doing, comes into picture. Let me give you the example of the last year's district level evaluation contest. The demo speaker came on the stage, and when the demo speaker started to speak, she went on for some 18 minutes. The time given was 5 to 7. She went on for 18, which means the most common thing that anyone can say is, dear speaker, you should have looked at the time. But that's the obvious point. So what I saw is that among all the evaluators, only one person spoke about the time. Everyone else spoke about the time, but in a different manner. They said, I know that this was a very emotional speech. I would recommend you to keep your emotions a little bit away so that you are more focused on the subject at hand. They hinted at time, but they did not say you spoke for 18 minutes, because that's the obvious thing to do. And in the evaluation contest, if you are also doing what everyone else is doing, then how will you win the contest? Which is also why these are things that you should think about. So far, I hope everyone is liking the session. If yes, give me a few emoticons. Okay, I want to see emoticons now, because so many of you are having your videos off. I will not say turn on your videos right now, but I need some emoticons. Okay, I can see some emoticons coming up now. All right. So this is the emoji party going on. Super. Let's keep the party going. You have found the quote. Now, when do you find the quote? During the 5 minutes, when you are making your notes, your mobile phones would still be with you. If not then while the speech is going on, at that time, you will have your phone with you. So if you do have your phone with you, and you know that the theme of the speech could be about leadership or love or trust or any other emotion, find an emotion around which the speech is going on. And you find the quote related to that. And you make a note of that quote on your paper. And that becomes one of the things that you can start with. And if you don't believe me, it's okay. What I would recommend you to do is, the next time you are doing a club level evaluation, try this method. Identify the theme, identify a quote, start with the quote, and then you get into the transition. See how it goes. You yourself would like it. And again, this is not the only way of going about it. This is one method that I have liked in the past, and that's why I'm sharing this with all of you. What are the most obvious points? So think about that as well. During the contest time, what's going to happen is, all of you, all the contestants will be moved to a different room. One by one, you will come inside the room. At that time, when you come inside the contest room, they will give you your paper and you will have 1 minute. During that 1 minute, you need to prepare your evaluation, your delivery on the stage for 2.5 minutes. So, sorry, 3.5 minutes. So in that case, that 1 minute of silence is where you prepare all of this. You imagine you are on the stage. Where is your demo speaker? Find the demo speaker first. Because I've seen people waste good 5 seconds. Oh, where is the demo speaker today? Oh, there you are. Hello, Lissy. Wasted 5 seconds right there. You can do that in the 60 seconds. Another common question, and this common question is not just in the contest, but in the normal meetings also. Is it okay if I have notes in my hand when I'm speaking? The answer is, it is perfectly fine. You can have your notes with you when you're delivering your evaluation, because It's not a contest about who has the notes and who doesn't, right? When you're delivering the evaluation, the focus is on your target speaker. You are here to help them speak better. And for that, if you're carrying your notes with you, it's perfectly fine. And the next one that I want to share with you is during your delivery of the evaluation, enjoy your performance. Look at all the people in the audience. Would you guys want to hear about a quick hack on how to do a good eye contact with a larger crowd? Who wants to do that?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, awesome. If you want to maintain good eye contact with a larger crowd, just imagine a W in the crowd. So let's say, let me share my whiteboard. Okay, no, even better. I already have the crowd with me. So imagine this crowd here. And if you imagine a W over here, so where will you spot the W? Maybe you can spot the W like this. Okay, so you start from this person, then you look at this person, next you look at this person, next you look at this person, and then you look at this person. That way, it's not a circular movement that you're doing. You are looking at individual people, and when you are looking at them, maintain eye contact. And at an individual level, all of us are programmed that when somebody is looking at us, we are all programmed to smile, to nod, or to give you some kind of a verbal cue that they got your message, you are speaking with them. And then this is a cue in the public speaking, not just for evaluation, but for any speaking. If you are on the stage and there's a lot of people in front of you, make a W. It's really going to help you with your eye contact with the audience. All right. So thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you, Prateek. Now with this, what we would be doing is, I see that I only have 1 minute left before the next segment begins. So I'm going to, and there are not a lot of speech things left as well, except a few points which you should not be doing. Okay, first point. Okay, let me stop sharing because it's only 3 points. It's better without sharing. First point, never mention the word perfect in evaluation. Do you know why? If something is perfect, it can't be improved. So don't say your speech was perfect, because then saying points of improvements becomes pointless. You can say your speech was really good. It was terrific. It was moving. All of these adjectives can be very good. Second thing that you can avoid is don't be a TV reporter. I have seen evaluators who come on the stage and say that, okay, we had Toastmaster Ilios deliver a really good speech today. He started with how he went to college. Then he met his girlfriend. And after that, he went and spoke with the principal. And I really liked, the misspelling was intentional. Perfect. So it was intentional, but thank you for spotting that. Well, as I was saying, that don't be a TV reporter and just talk about what the speaker did. Everybody has seen the same speech. They don't need to hear that all over again from you. You can focus on the insights, on speaking, on the delivery, on the script, on the feelings, audience connections. There are so many things. And the third thing that you can avoid is being the language master. In India, there is a very famous politician. His name is Shashi Tharoor. Whenever he starts speaking, everybody has to open the dictionaries. So don't use that stage as a point to show off your language skills, even though you are very good with language. You need to ensure that your audience understands and grasps what you are trying to share with them. Now, I know I'm getting a little bit late for this segment, but it's very important. So I'm sharing this one more slide and then we'll conclude. Let me stop my video for a minute. Oh, sorry. Okay. This is the judging ballot on which you are going to be judged, not evaluated, judged. First one, analytical quality. Is it clear and is it focused? That has the highest amount of points. 40 points you're going to get if your points of improvements, the good points, are coming out very well and very focused. Second one, recommendations. Recommendations need to be positive. So instead of saying, don't do this on the stage next time, you can be positive and say, instead of that, why don't you try something else next time? More positive. Recommendations need to be specific, where, like I said earlier, don't just say you can work on your voice. Show them how they can work on their voice. Recommendations need to be helpful. So if, let's say, somebody has used these things very well, in that case, the judges might give them the entire 40 marks. But if the judges thought that you're very good, then you're going to get between 28 to 39 points. Recommendations also, maximum points are 30. Look at the technique. What kind of technique did you use? Did you use a quote? Did you use the stage? How was your delivery? How was your voice modulation? How was your choice of words? All of that is important. And then we have, and drum rolls for this, summation. No evaluation is complete if you do not summarize, which is the third part of the sandwich method, where you need to summarize. And there are different ways to summarize things as well. One way is, I can say that to summarize, I would like to say, Toastmaster Udaya, you are a phenomenal speaker. Voice modulation and stage usage are some of the best qualities you have. If you work on your writing skills and add some humor, I am confident that you will be a speaker that everyone is talking about. Thank you, and over to you. Now, that way, I have summarized the entire evaluation. I included what went very well. I included what are the things that the speaker can improve upon. And then I handed the stage over to the contest master. So these are the few points which I wanted to share with everyone. With this, I will take a pause and I hand the stage back to the presiding officer for today with the red color behind him and his awesome suit, Toastmaster Udaya.
So we'll be having.
Okay, I want to invite Toastmaster Abdul on the spotlight, not Toastmaster Udaya. Okay, point of improvement for me. Make a note.
Thank you very much, DTM Aniket. Thank you very much for that, and yeah, thank you for calling me back again. Thank you for the session. It was wonderful. I was busy making notes here and there. Indeed, will utilize. I'm sure that everybody in the meeting will utilize as well. Now, it's time to utilize the points of improvements. I'm sorry, the learnings. It's the time to put the learnings to practice. But before that, what we'll have to do is we'll have to listen to the demo speak, shouldn't we? All right. Let me pause here for a second. Yes, DTM Arun. You're on mute.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to preamble this section 2 and 3, if that's okay with you.
Please.
Yeah. First of all, let's give a big round of applause for Toastmaster Aniket for that lovely and insightful session. I hope all of us will agree that there were so many tips that he shared from his own wonderful journey as a wonderful evaluator, one of the best we have around in the club. Thank you, Aniket, for that insightful session. Could you come on camera, Aniket, please? Aniket? Can I also ask the admin to spotlight Jyotiprakash, who's one of the panel evaluators? Jyoti, could you please come on stage? There is Aniket. Aniket, we were just thanking you for that lovely and insightful session loaded with all the nuggets that you have picked along in your journey as a very mature evaluator. Thank you for sharing that with us. Audience, I know you always would like to ask questions since we had the benefit of having another senior evaluator amongst us, and no less than our division director, Jyotiprakash Sundaray as well. So we thought that we'll take this opportunity to have you folks ask some questions for us for the next 10 minutes so that you distill whatever the residual things that you had in your head. And that's what Aniket had also suggested, that we do a little bit of a Q&A. And then I'd just like to help you understand how the next two segments are really going to make you apply the many things that Aniket has shared in his session. So what we're doing in the second segment is actually to let you participate with a demo speaker, scribble your notes, and observe what went well and what didn't. And at the end of that segment, we'll randomly call, or you can volunteer, or someone can come from the audience and share your notes. The reason why this is very important is in evaluation sessions, the depth of observations and how you note take is half the battle won. Often what we see is a lot of people who give good speeches, but their depth of observation is not as much. But the way they prioritize their observations, right? That's going to be important. So what we'll be doing as a team is that we'll also have one of the facilitators here, Aniket, would actually be making his notes, I'll be making mine, and we'll show you how we make our notes so you can have a look at it as well. So thereby we get some ideas on how 2-3 people make notes, and that's a good learning for all of us collectively as well. So once that's done, we'll have one person from the audience who will come and deliver the evaluation speech, and we will have, someone like Aniket also deliver his evaluation speech, so that we can, I will highlight some of the nice things that he's doing so that we can learn by example, by observation. So what we had so far was the knowledge sharing. What you're going to do now is actually practically see where you will experience, and also have one of the experts like Aniket do his evaluation, and I'll point out the things that were unique in it so that you can see and how you can apply them. Right? That's the second part. The third part of the segment is the practice segment. But those of you who would actually like to try out your evaluation, split you into groups, and we'll actually have you hear a demo speech, and we will split into 2 or 3 segments, and we will, between myself, Jyoti, and Aniket, will provide feedback for every speech that happens. So thereby, we'll highlight the areas that you're strong in and the areas that you could perhaps work on. To ACE evaluation contest, there are 4 parts. The first part is being able to observe. Second part is prioritization of your points. The third part is the way you deliver the speech. And fourth, how do you make that speech unique, right? These are 4 elements which actually take you across the line. So with that, please shoot your questions. And I think between myself, Aniket, and Jyoti, we'll try and take the questions and answer them if you have any questions. Over to you. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand, and you can post it to the panel. Thank you. Okay, that's Abdul.
Yes, Abdul has a question.
Yes. No, my question is, after the session, right? Pretty much everybody has made notes. Now, in context of this segment, or maybe in context of speech evaluation itself, how do I stand out of the crowd? Wherein, for example, if I have written down the notes, the sandwich method, everything, but how do I stand out by moving the parts up and down and making sure that my evaluation is unique? Because I'm sure, like, I'm foreseeing that most of us will be following the steps which you, Aniket, have shared on the slides.
What I would say to that is, even in the contest also, when you are delivering your evaluation, it would not be how you can do better than others. It's going to be your best. So according to you, what are the top 3 points that the speaker has done well? What are the 2 points that you feel without improvement on these points, they would not improve, or they would not improve that way? So it's those prioritization, and then the other techniques that I used, that spoke about, like the quote, the transitions, the language, so all of that. But you do your best. Arun or Jyoti, if you want to add it.
I would say 4 things. One, the clarity of your observation, the precision of your prioritization in terms of the highest areas of improvement, or the best areas coming first in reverse order. The third one being the panache with which you bring it out in terms of the clarity, not too many words, but the crisp way in which you bring it. And lastly, the sincerity to the person you're evaluating. A lot of people make this into I want to show I'm a great speaker thing, but the sincerity to the speaker is something that I rate highly if I'm an evaluator in an evaluation contest. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we have a question on the chat window. I think Toastmaster Elios has posted, how do we evaluate our speaker without stealing their limelight? All right, now I'll just probably pitch in here and then I'll let Aniket and Arun add here. So one thing that you would need to really understand here is that, number one, you're not stealing somebody's limelight. The test speaker very well knows that he or she is going to get evaluated and they're prepared for it. So it's an absolutely guilt-free feeling when you're giving your evaluation out there. In fact, the mere reason why they're here is a lot of speakers actually take up this opportunity to prepare themselves for a larger stage. A lot of people who would be competing on a larger stage, or they want to sincerely improve their speaking, right? They're the ones who come up and get themselves evaluated. So forget that guilt-feeling part. Now, I would again come back to the last point that Toastmaster or distinguished Toastmaster Arun just mentioned about the sincerity part, right? I have also wholeheartedly felt that if you're sincere and that comes out in your evaluation, that connect happens between you and your and the speaker to whom you're evaluating, right? So if that is there in place, then your tone, your body language, your points get conveyed beautifully. And as much as the audience receives it, the speaker will also receive it. So there's no way you're going to steal their limelight at all. That guilt feeling should not be there.
A very quick quip. Elios, the concept of stealing the limelight does not arise. I'll tell you why. Because even if someone is a world champion and has come for an evaluation, he has to wear the humility hat because there's always scope for improvement. That's what I would say. Yeah. Okay, we have Pratibha who's raised her hand. Pratibha, over to you. What's your question?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, there are times when speakers are new to the club, and sometimes it happens that they are not able to complete their speeches within a given time, like 5 to 7 minutes. They complete it before 5 minutes. At that point of time, we don't have much to say. Like it becomes, there are a lot of points of improvement than what went good. So in that case, how to speak better as an evaluator?
Okay, couple of points I would like to add is, even if you feel that they have not spoken 7 minutes, but if they spoke for 4 minutes, what are the things that they did well in those 4 minutes? At the least, they stood there and they spoke. That is there. Even if they do it 3 times in a row, they're still standing and speaking. So you appreciate their courage to stand there and speak. Second thing, you need to find more points that went well, like the topic that they chose. It could be the title that they had, could be many other things. So I'm sure that if you make it a point that you will find 3 points that they did well, because the objective is to motivate the speaker, I'm sure you will be able to do that. And coming to the points of improvement, maybe if they have spoken less, that means they have more things to say. Maybe they need to dig more from their life and add more content in the speech. Not because of they survived the green light, so that they deliver whatever message that they were trying to share in that speech, they were able to share that point convincingly. For that, whatever content they need, they will get that. Yeah, Jyoti, I think you were trying to add something.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Toastmaster Pratibha. And in fact, it's a very genuine question, because I feel that speeches like these are the ones that makes an evaluator's life really, really difficult, because these are the times when an evaluator needs to understand that the person speaking needs to be encouraged to come back again on the stage. So that is where the level of maturity comes in to have that sincerity and figure out. See, it will never be the fact that a speaker didn't have good areas. There will definitely be 2-3 good aspects that you would want to talk about. Could be the voice, could be the body language, could be the smile, could be the hand movements, could be the eye contact, could be the topic, could be the transitions, anything. So whenever you see a speaker actually struggling, try to figure out those beautiful aspects of the speech that can actually pep him or her up. Talk about those first, and that is again when the sandwich technique comes in, right? Talk about those first. So then the speaker feels good about the speech that he or she gave. And then talk about the top 2 or 3 aspects which you feel could have been done better. And if you have that sincerity, you can always connect offline and say that, hey, I feel that there were a couple of more aspects that I wanted to share with you. This is the thing. If you want, we can always come in, get in touch, and I can help you out with the next speech. That's another way of doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I see Toastmaster Uday showing the red light.
I think there was one more question earlier that we missed. That was from Joseph. Yes. What happened if you cannot hear clearly what the speaker speaks? Example, speaker may be muffling the words or unable to hear carefully, or the topic is difficult to understand. Okay. Great question, Joseph. Arun, would you like to take a stab at this? Oh, you are on mute.
Sorry, I missed that question. Could you repeat that for me?
Sure. Question is, what happens if you cannot hear clearly the speaker speak? For example, if the speaker may be muffling the words or unable to hear carefully, where the evaluator does not hear, the topic is difficult to understand. That could also be a situation. What do you do in that situation?
Well, it's very simple. The goal of a speaker is to communicate any complex. I'll take the second part first. Is to take any complex topic and communicate in a manner that is understandable by the audience. So if the audience, that's something that we are taught as Toastmasters, to understand the audience and deliver to that audience. So if the topic is complex and the speaker is unable to break it down in a manner that the audience can understand, including the evaluation panel itself, it's clearly an area of improvement for them to say, hey, you may be an expert, but the audience isn't. So you'll have to break it down with analogies or whatever it is to make them understand. That's one. The first part of the question was, what if they were not able to hear them speak? Well, this is a basic 101 of public speaking. When you get on the mic or on stage, first thing you do is try and check your mic or the material. And also, if you're not using a mic, just raise your hand and ask if you're audible at the end so that you can calibrate your voice accordingly. So again, that's an opportunity to recommend to the speaker that unfortunately apologize and say, I couldn't hear a good part of the speech because you weren't audible. That's what I would recommend to you, Toastmaster Joseph Tan. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Sorry, may I just add on a bit to the question? Thank you for answering the question, but I guess it's more on, some speaker, because English may not be their mother tongue, their fluent language that they speak. So while we understand that Toastmaster is a safe space, a platform where we learn public speaking and we learn to improve our language, but we have to admit that some speakers may be not fluent in English, and hence when they speak, it's like they are more towards their mother tongue, or they may be slanging too much, especially the westernized people. So when they speak too fast or too so-called fluent in a sense, we couldn't catch what the speaker is saying, but we can hear that it's along the in that case, as an evaluator, we would like to enhance and help them much to give a good feedback. But throughout the whole speech, we can't hear the content. Would it be right that based on just now all the sharing, am I right to say that in that case, we do not evaluate based on the content, but we evaluate based on your body position, your eye contact, your stage presence, etc.? Or how should we do it to better help and help the speaker much? Thank you.
Joseph, I see where you're coming from. I'll answer that. It doesn't matter that even if the most eloquent English speaker was delivering a public speech, let's say somewhere in some part of Asia where English is not very well understood, it's their homework that they should understand that the rate of speaking has to be slower. So it doesn't matter that English is a language that the English speak. The English need to know that they need to speak in a way that others can understand. So therefore, it doesn't matter who the speaker is or what qualifications they have on the language. They have not done their homework of studying the audience. And the audience is the king, and they need to defer to the king. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether the audience doesn't understand English as well. They need to learn to communicate, and communication is a two-way transaction. There's someone who starts the communication, there's someone who receives, and there's a channel. So the responsibility of the speaker is to make sure that what is shared is able to be digested by the audience that is receiving it. And that is the responsibility of the speaker, no matter their qualifications, no matter what their eloquence is. I hope I answered your question now. Thank you. So your point is correct. If as an evaluator, you're not able to follow what you're saying on content, but you can only evaluate them on other things, go ahead and do that. But if I were you, I would start with the first feedback that was saying, you are an eloquent speaker, but perhaps you need to do the homework to recognize that the rate of speaking should have been slower to cater to an international audience. And that would be my first feedback.
Oh, thank you very much for the advice. Thank you.
Aniket had something to add. Over to you, Aniket.
Yep. I wanted to say that this could also be the opportunity for you to maybe demonstrate it for them. That when you were trying to say something, I could not hear that. And this is what I think you were trying to say. So maybe if that speaker has much better body language, stage presence, you can recommend them to maybe use simpler words, speak slower, and take some feedback from their mentor. Or is this an area where they can improve? So now their audience can be the entire world. Now we are getting pings from our timer today that our demo speaker is waiting for the Q&A session. So maybe we will resume the Q&A after the demo speech, and it would be lovely to have and continue this conversation.